Please watch your step. Please remain standing as you enter the witness box. Pay attention to Madam Clerk, who will be putting you under oath. Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I swear.
Please state your full name, spelling your last name for the record, as well as your badge number and business address.
Lonnie Blackwell. Last name is Blackwell. And what was my
Badge number and business address.
currently I don't have a current badge number. My business address would be 150 Court Street in New Haven, Connecticut.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning, Mr. Blackwell.
Good morning.
If you mind just keeping your voice up? It's a little loud in here with the AC, okay?
No problem.
Can you please tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you currently do for a living?
Yep, so currently I'm employed by the Department of Homeland Security. I'm awaiting to go my training to become a special agent in about 2 months. I've been employed by them for about a month. Prior to that, I was a police officer for the Shelton Police Department for about 4 years.
And when you were a police officer, did you have any training that you had to go through to become a police officer?
Yes, I attended the Milford Police Academy for about 8 months in 2021.
And I want to direct your attention to May 14th of 2022. Were you working that day for the Shelton Police Department?
Yes, I was working the evening shift, 4 p.m. to midnight.
And what were your responsibilities that night?
I was on the patrol division at the time, so I was responsible for responding to calls that were in my area that was assigned to me.
Did you receive a 911 call that night to report to an area of Shelton?
Yes, I did.
And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so around 11:53 p.m. that night, dispatch reported that there was multiple stabbing victims at the address of 43 Laurel Glen Drive. I immediately responded to the area and arrived to the area of the scene in about 6 or 7 minutes.
Your Honor, I don't think there's an objection. We have some exhibits that have been pre-marked. I'd be asking if you give me full exhibits at this time. I don't know if we're going to
All right.
No objection, Your Honor.
Have they been marked full? Yeah.
Your Honor, I have reviewed these in advance.
All right. Give me one moment. Once they're marked.
Your Honor, want to review this one?
I guess what number has that one? Thank you. Thank you. Attorney Smith, you've had an opportunity to review exhibits 1 through 9.
I have, Your Honor. I'll take a chance to
Thank
go
you.
through them one more time now that we've got the numbers on them.
Thank you.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, court will go ahead and accept into evidence states exhibits 1 through 9.
If I may approach the witness, Your Honor.
You may.
Mr. Blackwell, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 1 as a full exhibit. Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury where you responded to in State's Exhibit 1?
Yep, so when I initially was going to the call, I turned on to Adams Drive here, and I drove up to the intersection of Laurel Glen and Adams. When I approached Laurel Glen, I could see from my cruiser that there was a large group of juveniles. At the time, I approximated maybe 30 juveniles right in front of the yard of 43 Laurel Glen. And I was flagged down at the corner of Adams and Laurel by a small group of female juveniles who waved me down and started pointing me towards the direction of where the incident occurred. So I exited my cruiser at the time and began jogging over to the front yard of 43 Laurel Glen.
And just for the benefit of the record, is 43 Laurel Glen located where that red mark is on top of, in the middle of States 1?
Yes.
And when you got to the scene, what was the scene like?
It was chaotic. As you can imagine, a large group of juveniles. Pandemonium, I would describe it as that. That's best.
Around what time did you arrive there?
Right around midnight.
And what were the lighting conditions out that night?
It was dark, but I could clearly see, probably due to the mix of lights on the house as well as a ton of the juveniles had phones out, lights from the phones, as well as my own flashlight, but everything I could see pretty clearly.
I want to show you State's Exhibit 2 that's marked as a full exhibit. Can you see that?
Yes.
Again, is this 43 Laurel Glen where you arrived at 12 a.m. on the 15th of May of 22?
Yes.
And is this States 2 kind of show the area, what it was like, absent the individuals on the front lawn?
Yes.
And when you got to 43 Laurel Glen on the 15th, midnight on the 15th, where did you respond? Can you tell us where you responded to in States 2?
Yes, so when I walked up on foot, I responded to this specific area of the grass area to the right of the house if you're looking at the front of the residence. And that's where a large majority of the juveniles were located, as well as the 4 victims that I later identified.
I'm going to show you States 5. This is a daylight picture that was taken, obviously, at 43 Laurel Glen.
Yes.
Okay. And the area that you responded, you see this debris area here pointing to the middle section of the grassy area where there looks like there's some clothing items located just to the right of the basketball hoop and just below the red bush area here. Is that the area that you responded to?
Yes.
Okay. And when you responded there, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you encountered at that point in time.
Yep, so a few of the juveniles pointed me to the victims. So at first, within this area on the grass to the left, I identified 2 victims. One victim had a wound to his arm. He was responsive, he was standing, he was talking. Another victim was sitting upright on the grass, and I witnessed what appeared to be a stab wound to his torso area. He was still responsive at the time. Then I moved on to the right side of the grass area, where then I identified another victim with multiple stab wounds to his leg. At that time, I saw he was bleeding a lot out of the leg, and I applied a tourniquet to his left thigh area as high as I could. And then after applying that tourniquet, I moved on to the last victim that I identified as having a wound to his chest area and began providing medical attention as best I could.
With regards to the third individual that you applied a tourniquet, can you tell the ladies and the gentlemen of the jury why you did that?
Yes, so for my training in the police academy, for our medical training, we're taught if you have a wound and are bleeding a lot from an appendage and you're able to place a tourniquet, that can assist in stopping the bleeding. So that's why I placed it as high as I could on his left leg, where most of the wounds I saw were, to assist in stopping the bleeding.
And based on your training and experience, based on what you saw the wounds to be like, what gave you that impression that the tourniquet was appropriate at that point in time?
First of all, because they were on an appendage, and I witnessed a large amount of blood being lost from the wounds, so I was able to apply the tourniquet due to it being on the leg.
Let me show you State's Exhibit 7 that's been marked as a full exhibit. Again, is this the area that you responded to that night?
Yes.
Okay. And you see there's like a blue T-shirt here, what appears to be blue clothing, pointing to the middle of State 6.
Yes.
And can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is that the area that you responded to after you applied the tourniquet to the third individual? Is that where you found the fourth individual, around that area?
Yes, in that area.
And when you found the fourth individual in that area, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you observed when you got to that person.
Yes, so when I identified the fourth victim, I immediately recognized that he was blue in the face, which was indicating to me that he probably had lost a large amount of blood. And I did locate a wound to his chest area right near the heart, and did see a lot of blood coming from that wound. So at the time, I believe some other juveniles brought out rags or cloth or some sort, maybe a T-shirt, and me as well as them, we were assisting in just compressing the wound, just trying to stop the bleeding the best we could until EMS arrived.
And were you successful in stopping any of the bleeding before EMS arrived?
Partially, but from my observations, there was a lot of blood lost.
And how long would you say it took for EMS to arrive after your arrival?
Approximately 10 minutes.
When you got there, did anybody else from the Shelton Police Department arrive on scene prior to EMS's arrival?
I believe Officer Nemhard, or right around the same time as
And
EMS.
at the point where you and Nebhard were on scene, what were your responsibilities at that point?
First of all, to just secure the scene, make sure we identified all the victims, number one, and also if there were still suspects in the area or on scene, as well as in the house, which we had not cleared yet. So just a lot of moving parts and identifying what was going on.
Just want to go through these exhibits a little bit. Real quick. Stage 3. This is just another angle looking towards the street of Laurel Glen that night. Does that reflect what the area looked like, minus maybe the headlights of the cruiser there?
Yes.
Okay. And again, stage 4, another angle of 43 Laurel Glen in the area where you responded to. Is this an accurate depiction of what that area looked like?
Yes.
And 6, stage 6, again, this is just another perspective of that area on or about May 15th of 2022.
Yes.
And again, stage 8, a closer up perspective of the area where you responded to and found 4 individuals suffering from stab wounds that day, or that night, excuse me.
Yes.
And again, stage 9, this is the area from the left side of 43 Laurel Glen, the area you responded to.
Yes.
Now, after police responded to the scene and EMS finally responded 10 minutes later, did your responsibilities change at the scene?
No, at the time, I still assisted EMS in providing medical attention. Like I mentioned before, with whatever cloth or rag I was provided, I kept compressing on the wound while EMS then began doing compressions, as well as with the assistance of a neighbor, I believe.
And during your time providing aid with EMS, how long would you say you stayed with the fourth individual at that point?
Approximately 10 minutes.
And at some point after 10 minutes, what happened after that?
EMS then transported him.
And did you follow EMS to where they were transporting him?
I did not. I stayed on scene.
Now, when the individuals were starting to be transported, withdrawn, at some point in time, were the other individuals who were suffering from wounds transported to the hospital? Do you have?
Yes.
And did your responsibilities at that point change once those individuals left 43 Laurel Glen?
Yes.
And what was your responsibility at that point?
At that point, it was to secure the rest of the scene and contain the large amount of juveniles that were there, so then we can begin interviews.
And did you, in fact, begin interviews at the scene?
Yes, I did conduct a few interviews.
And the information that you received from those individuals, did you pass that information on to anybody?
Yes, it was all passed along to the Detective Bureau.
And did the Detective Bureau, based on your observations, respond to 43 Laurel Glen that night?
Yes.
And who responded to that scene at that time?
Detective Bango responded, as well as Lieutenant Kozlowski.
And at that point in time, in May 15th of 2022, did you have body-worn camera?
No,
Why not?
they were not issued to us yet.
Okay. And at some point in time later on in that year, was body-worn camera a requirement of all police departments?
Yes.
Was it a requirement of the Shelton Police Department on or about July 1?
Yes.
So Do you know whether or not the Shelton Police Department, in fact, had a body camera at that point in time?
I believe they had one body camera issued.
And do you know what, if anything, that body camera was used for in relation to any investigation?
I believe it was used to record some of the interviews.
And do you know, in fact, whether or not that body camera was used in this case?
I believe so.
Now, how long would you say that you were on scene at 43 Laurel Glen conducting your witness interviews and securing the scene for?
Approximately three or 4 hours.
And at some point in time, did you leave the scene?
Yes, I went back to the headquarters to type my report.
And based on your witness interviews at 43 Laurel Glen, not telling us what they said, but were you able to identify or develop a suspect that you were looking for from those interviews?
Yes, we were able to develop a group of suspects that fled in a vehicle from the scene.
And were you able to develop and identify a vehicle that they were seen fleeing?
Yes, I believe it was identified as a Honda SUV.
And was that information passed along to the Detective Bureau as well?
Yes.
They may have a moment, Your Honor. Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness.
Attorney Smith?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Officer Blackwell.
Morning.
Just want to go over your testimony here. You are currently training, but you haven't yet started with Department of Homeland Security. Is that true?
I'm employed right now. I'm waiting to go to my training.
Okay. And where are you employed right now? Is that also with DHS?
Yes, with DHS.
Okay, but you are going to complete your training and then go on to do what exactly?
To be a Homeland Security investigator.
Gotcha. You told us that you arrived about midnight in response to a call from dispatch, correct?
Correct.
And you got to 43 Laurel Glen Drive. That's a house in the Shelton neighborhood that you've described there on that Exhibit 1 behind you, correct?
Yes.
And that is a neighborhood that is comprised of a few through roads and then a number of roads that end in cul-de-sac. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Were you familiar with this neighborhood yourself prior to going there?
To a degree, yes.
How were you familiar with it?
We switch assignments every day on areas that we patrol, so once or twice a week I'd be assigned to that area.
You described that once you got to the scene, it was fairly well lit due to the vehicles that were there, people using their own flashlights, your flashlight, your
Yes.
car, correct?
Correct.
As you were driving there, is it well lit along that path from Adams?
On the road?
On the road.
I couldn't say. I had headlights, obviously. I'm not super familiar with the street. If there's street lights.
Would you say that it got lighter once you got to the scene than it was as you were driving there?
Yeah.
When you arrived, there were cars parked in the driveway.
Yes.
There were cars parked in the road, correct?
I believe so.
Both sides of the road, correct?
I believe so.
And you, in fact, didn't park there at the house. You parked some distance away and walked to the scene, correct?
Correct.
When you got there, did you notice that there were any signs of drinking?
Initially, no. When I initially got no.
When you say initially, no, at some point, though, you did come to see that there were signs of drinking having gone on at that location, correct?
Yes, later on in the night.
And what signs of drinking did you encounter?
I believe there was alcohol bottles found.
Was that inside the house, outside the house?
I can't recall.
Red Solo cups, kegs, bottles of liquor, what are we talking about?
I can't recall exactly.
All of that, perhaps?
Possibly.
Objection as to possibly? I mean,
Overruled.
Were there any signs of any adults on scene?
Initially, no, but some adults did respond.
So when you initially arrived, do you think there were maybe 30 people there in the yard?
My best guess was about 30.
All juveniles?
Yes.
And do you think it's possible that there were in fact more than the 30 that you saw? Were others in the house?
objection.
Good.
Sustained.
Possible, yes.
Ask that be stricken.
The objection was sustained. I'll move to strike. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm striking the response, so you're not to consider that as evidence. Thank you. Attorney Smith.
You believe you witnessed approximately 30 people in the yard,
Yes.
all juveniles.
Yes.
You told us at that point you had not cleared the house, correct?
Correct.
Did there come a time when you did clear the house?
Yes.
And were there more people inside the house?
I believe so.
How many people would you say?
I could not tell you.
You told us that you began doing some interviews after you'd secured the scene, correct?
Correct.
What was the time that you started those interviews, do you think?
Approximately 12:45.
So about 45 minutes after you arrived on scene, you think?
Approximately.
And you told us that you spoke to, I believe, 3 different people on scene?
Possibly more. Correct. Yeah. Around.
You only took interviews or statements from 3 of those, is that correct?
Yes.
But you may have spoken to more?
Yes.
You told us you came to learn some information that you passed along to the Detective Bureau, correct?
Correct.
And that was information regarding possible suspects, correct?
Correct.
And information regarding the vehicle that some folks claimed they were in, correct?
Correct.
Did you learn at any point of the existence of any video or recordings that people had made?
No, I was not aware.
Did you learn that any of the people that you had spoken to had been involved in fighting or attacking either Mr. Valle or any of the other folks that were there?
I learned there was a fight.
Did you learn that any of the folks that you spoke to were involved in that fight?
Yes.
When you were speaking with those individuals, did they show any signs of having been drinking?
Possibly.
Did you take any notes while you were doing your interviews or otherwise on the scene?
Yeah, I had a notepad, as well as a written statement form.
When you cleared the house, did you notice any signs of drinking inside the house?
I do not recall.
You're shown here on the Elmo some photographs from the scene. I just want to take a look at those. Showing you what has been marked as State Exhibit 3. That's a full exhibit. You see that, sir?
Yes.
And in this photo that you're seeing here, there are cars parked on the street. You see those?
Yes.
Is that how it looked when you arrived on scene?
I believe so.
Did you take this photograph yourself?
No.
And you see that there's some tape there, correct?
Yes.
That's the tape that y'all used to secure the scene, right?
Yes.
I'm going to show you now what has been marked as State's Exhibit 9. See that same tape there, correct?
Correct.
Securing the scene.
Yes.
And those vehicles, those are the same vehicles that had been parked when you arrived the night before, correct?
I do not know.
Showing you now what has been marked as State's Exhibit 2. Do you see that, Officer Blackwell?
Yes.
Would you agree that those same vehicles are there in the parking, in the driveway?
As the previous picture,
As in the daylight picture that we just saw with the secure tape around it?
I would have to look side by side.
Sure. You see what I'm showing you right now is Exhibit 2, correct?
Correct.
You see those same vehicles there?
2 of them, yes.
Can't see what was on the other side of those vehicles in the picture that was shown before. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
But you see that tape behind those vehicles, correct?
Correct.
From your training and experience, that tape is meant to keep the scene as it is, correct?
Correct.
Did you use that tape? Did you put that up yourself?
I do not believe I did.
I'm showing you now what is State's Exhibit 2. Do you see that, sir?
Yes.
See that same tape that's corralling off the yard, right?
Yes.
Because that was the scene of your investigation and you wanted to secure that, correct?
Correct.
No tape used in the street, would you agree?
I do not recall.
Did you ever use any tape to secure any of the vehicles that were parked there on the road on either side?
I did not.
I'm showing you now State's Exhibit 4. Do you see that, sir?
Yes.
You see any tape that's in the street?
Just on the basketball hoop?
Nothing in the street, however, correct?
No.
And would you agree, sir, that vehicles that had been there the night before are no longer there in this daytime picture?
Correct.
Officer Blackwell, fair to say you've been called here today to tell us about what you witnessed when you arrived on the scene, right?
Yes.
And you've done that to the best of your ability?
Yes.
But if what these jurors want to know is why Mr. Valle did what he did that night, you can't really be of any help to them at all, can you?
No.
Nothing further.